Hey guys, Cameron with CBM Reviews here, and we frickin' made it to the end of WandaVision. This is going to be a recap of the very last episode of this season, plus kind of an overall idea about the show as a whole. So you definitely, if you're gonna skip all of my other WandaVision videos, you don't want to miss this one. First and foremost, thank you for clicking on this video. If you're a fan of this sort of thing, hit that like button. If you'd like to see more things like this in the future, subscribe to the channel. And last but certainly not least, hit that notification bell if you want to know as soon as I upload. So I pretty much called what was going to happen in this episode. At the very end of my last video, when I recapped previously on, I said we're going to get a Vision versus Vision fight, we're going to get a Witch versus Witch fight, and then we're going to get the Soul of Sword fight with Monica versus Hayward. Every single thing that I just mentioned happened. Normally, I do my recap in a somewhat chronological order, and I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to talk about the three distinct fights, and then I'm going to talk about the resolution. So let's talk about the one that I found not as interesting as the other two. And that's going to be the Monica Rambeau versus Hayward, the Soul of Sword, so to speak. Monica eventually gets released from where she was. She was trapped in Agatha's house, which turned out it wasn't Agatha's house. It was some kid named Boner. What am I, 12? Evan Peters' character was, it was his house that Agatha was in. She releases Pietro from his trance, and so now she is no longer being controlled by Agatha, and Monica gets out just in time to where all of everything is going down. Hayward legit tries to murder her with bullets from a gun. And thanks to some fast thinking from Billy, it doesn't happen. And Hayward, in his hasty retreat, gets T-boned by Darcy. What up? So in the end, Hayward does get arrested. You know, that's not what we came here for. We came here for the Wanda and the Vision part. Let's talk about Vision next. White Vision, that really makes me dislike him even more. White Vision goes to Westview and encounters Fake Vision, or WandaVision, and they are having themselves a fight. It really is a good visual spectacle. They are 100% evenly matched. Neither one has an advantage on the other. And then Vision, or WandaVision rather, WandaVision decides to combat this in a completely different way. He says, if I can't beat him physically, because we're evenly matched, perhaps I could bring out a logical way to defeat him. And that's exactly what he does. He asks him, what's your mission? And White Vision says to destroy the Vision. And WandaVision's like, well, I'm not the real Vision, so don't destroy me. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, look, if, and it's apparently this thing about Theseus's boat. And so they, you know, Theseus has a boat and it gets transferred into a museum, but after time, the wood from the boat rots, and so it gets replaced. And it's still in the museum. It's still categorized as Theseus's ship, but with all the original wood rotted out, is it really his ship? And then at that point, the wood that gets taken out, is that Theseus's ship? And so because he created a logical conundrum, not dissimilar to Schrodinger's cat, he caused White Vision to understand that perhaps I shouldn't be fighting you. Maybe we could help each other, because I only have a directive and I know I'm supposed to have more. And you are not the real you, but you have all these memories and emotions that apparently I used to have. And so WandaVision unlocks the memory in White Vision. So now White Vision is now free from the directive, and he is more so the old self again. He still has that power supply from the drone and everything, but at this point, White Vision is woke Vision. What? What's kind of sad is that we don't see that Vision anymore. Like, he goes off and that's it. We will see him in the future. When in the future? I don't know, but at this point, WandaVision. And now, what we've all come for, it's a good old-fashioned witch-off. In this corner, we've got the Thunder named Wanda, the Sokovian sorceress, the Bruja Roja, Wanda Maximoff. And in the other corner, we've got the Harkness of Darkness, the Corrupter of Covens. It was Agatha all along. Harkness! They're fighting, and it's mostly an aerial fight. We see Agatha take intentional body blows because one thing that she learned from the Darkhold, which is confirmed that's what that book was that her power, because of all of the things she learned, was to absorb other witches' power. Their essence, so to speak. That's why whenever the witches tried to kill her back in 1690 whatever, they all got their magic drained because she was pulling from the darkest of magics. So she's trying to take all of Wanda's power. Wanda is this being of mythical proportions. She's supposed to be more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. Agatha said so. So that's what Agatha is wanting, is all this power. And every single time she draws more power, Wanda starts getting like her life zapped, and she starts withering down. Like, she still has magic, but it's not as powerful. One of the things I loved in this is that at some point, you know, Agatha seems to feel like she's got Wanda kind of like in a corner. And then Wanda pulls like one of those old tricks she did back in Age of Ultron, and she like did that whole thing, and she made Agatha kind of like relive some old trauma with a twist, of course, because there's always some sort of twist. And just when we think Wanda's got her, she found a little something, Agatha turns it on her, and she's like, Wanda, haven't you figured it out yet? Like, you can't beat me. It's not happening. And so they get burst out of that whole thing, and then they're having this super aerial fight, like in the middle of the hex. And Wanda looks like she's pulling out all the stops, like she's firing wildly, and Agatha's like give it to me more, baby, more, and soaking up a whole bunch of energy. And Agatha is just like she's reveling in all this power, and Wanda looks like she's so sapped and so tired. And then Agatha's like, I'm about to put this dog out of her misery. And it's weird because Wanda's still floating up in the air, but all of her power is sapped. Agatha's like, Hadouken! No, she doesn't say that. But she's like, she does some power, but nothing happens. Well, what's going on here? Did we miss something? And then all of a sudden, we see Wanda start to get her powers back, and all of like her like deadened hands and face starts to revive itself. It's almost like an Oil of Olay commercial. And then all of a sudden, we see on each like wall runes, crimson runes start appearing, and she's like, another witch can't perform magic if she's surrounded by a different witch's runes. I bet you wish you'd shut up now, Agatha, don't you? So now, Agatha is in the Hex, which is completely controlled by Wanda. And Wanda transforms. She goes full Scarlet Witch. This is the first time that we see like her actual costume. Like, we've seen a costume before, but not like this. And so now Agatha is no longer a threat. I mean, I kind of liked it because they don't kill Agatha, and we can come back and see Agatha at some point. But also, it's just kind of like, is it safe to keep her alive? I don't know about that. All the bad guys lose, all the good guys win. But this doesn't necessarily have a happy ending, because all of the people in Westview know that Wanda's been the one that's been controlling them. They want freedom. If they don't get freedom, they want death, and that is just too much. So Wanda decides to set everyone free, but the problem is that because of the way that the hex was formed, this WandaVision and the kids are part of the hex. So when the hex is gone, they're gone. So this is the part of the show where we're not talking about fights and lasers and whatever. We're talking about saying some goodbyes. And it was tough because as the hex wall is shortening, like it shrinks in. They tuck the boys into bed. Wanda says something along the lines of, "Thank you for choosing me to be your mom." And then Wanda and Vision, they go down, and Wanda's like turning off lights, Vision's turning them back on. He's like, I want to see you, before all this goes. And he asks Wanda, he's like, "What am I?" And she says, "You are the manifestation of the Mind Stone in me and the memory of someone I love made physical." And he said, "Well, we've said goodbye before, so perhaps we'll say hello again." And they share a kiss, and then the hex goes back into Wanda, and she's standing on that nothingness foundation again. And that was powerful. I wasn't expecting it to happen that way, but it did. After this, Wanda talks with Monica, and Monica's like, "They will never know what you had to give up." And Wanda feels bad about the whole thing because she never meant to hurt anybody, but from their perspective, that's what she did. So Wanda takes off by herself because, like I said, we don't see woke Vision anymore. And that's it. Jimmy is now a very prominent figure in S.W.O.R.D. if he's not still in FBI. And we find out that the person who was a part of S.W.O.R.D. that delivered the vehicle was a Skrull. It was in fact the Skrull that she was friends with in Captain Marvel. And it looks like Monica's about to go back up to the station in space. So that's something that we could possibly look forward to down the line. But also in a second, not just the first one, but in a second post-credit scene, we see that Wanda is kind of like living her life in the middle of like nowhere, just kind of like peacefully away from everybody. And we think that she's just kind of like doing her own thing, but then we see in the back room, she is studying the Darkhold. Yeah, she done got the book, she is studying it, and then as she's doing her studies, she hears Billy and Tommy scream out, "Mom!" like in some void. And then that's it. So now that I've, kind of like gone through this, I'm gonna talk about the series as a whole. These 9 episodes have been something, and the way that it's worked out, it's almost like a very long movie in 3 acts. The first 3 episodes were definitely a setup with the sitcoms. In the second act, you had the explanation of some things that are going on, the backstory of Monica, a little bit of sword action, and then you had the twins kind of like becoming their character. And then in the last third, you had Agatha revealing herself, Hayward revealing himself, and then of course you have the culmination of everything, the wrap up, so to speak. By itself, it works so well. If you thought that the setup was slow, that's not the setup's fault. It is setting the stage for showing you what kind of show it really is. It is not about superpowers. It is about family. It's about those that you love, not wanting to let go of those that you love, and doing everything that you can if you have the power to bring them back. Wanda lost Vision. She brought him back. Wanda wanted a family. She lost her family with her parents and her brother. She brought a new family with the boys. And I mean, even with other characters, Monica lost her mom when she was blipped away. And she told Wanda, if I had the power to bring my mom back, I would have brought her back. I don't blame you, homegirl. And I think that I do have a feeling of disappointment with the series, but it has nothing to do with the series as a whole. And the reason why is because me and every single channel on this platform was hoping for connections to other characters. There were some saying, Mephisto's coming, Mr. Fantastic's coming, the mutants are coming. And we were so busy looking at who could be coming. Who are they going to bring in for the last episode, and what will that mean, that we really didn't pay attention to what they were showing us right in front of our faces. And so this show, to be completely honest, will be appreciated by those who understand the backstory of Vision and Wanda and all of those things. But I think it'll be more appreciated by those who aren't as familiar with the MCU as the rest of us, and look at it as a love story about somebody who doesn't want to let go of somebody and something that they've lost. It is literally a story, as Vision said in the 8th episode, about how grief is love persevering, and even through that massive grief that Wanda was feeling, she found a way to persevere, even if it was in somewhat of a perverse way. That's really what this story is about. So, normally when I talk about TV series, do I recommend it? Well, yeah, I do. A lot of people will say you have to, hit these movies or anything like that to catch up with anything, and you kind of don't. They explain things pretty well on their own. If you do want to get a backstory, then yeah, you can watch Age of Ultron, Captain America Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. But you don't have to, because this is really about a girl who loves a guy. She just has the power to bring him back to life. So that is my episode and series review of WandaVision. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section down below. You enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel and share this with your friends. As always, this is Cameron with CBM Reviews. We'll see you next time.